Pearls go with everything. Today on Beads, Baubles, and Jewels. Pearls aren't just for special occasions anymore. They can be worn daytime, evening, every day if you like. And I'm joined by Doreen Stevens from Fire Mountain Gems, and Doreen is going to tell us everything we need to know about pearls.
Well, there's a lot
At least to start.
Let's start off. Cultured pearls, these are cultured freshwater pearls. And they are originally formed when an irritant is introduced into an oyster. And to protect itself, the oyster starts growing a nacreous layer around the irritant.
Okay.
However, on a cultured pearl farm, it's a little bit different. A specialist will come in and inoculate an oyster with kind of a modified syringe. And this is a picture of what an oyster looks like after it's inoculated. And here you can see the rows of pearls that have formed.
And that's interesting because I think, like myself, like many people, thought that you get one pearl per oyster.
Common
and it looks
misnomer.
like there are several.
Yeah, there really are a lot. These oysters are pretty big, actually. They're about the size of a person's palm. And as you can see here, let's see that one
bring
also.
in another picture.
There are many, many pearls. This oyster actually had 42 pearls that came out of it. And as you can see below here, they're all different colors and all different sizes and shapes. And that's how they come out of the pearl, out of the oyster in full luster.
Wow. Let's take a look at the actual, is it a oyster farm? Is that what you would call it?
A pearl farm and oyster farm. They're kind of synonymous at this point, so if I keep on saying oyster or pearl, you know.
Okay.
What happens is after the pearl is inoculated, it's put into small baskets, and you can see here these strings have small oyster baskets on them.
Okay.
And the inoculated pearl is put in there, and then it's grown for, well, they can be grown up to 10 years.
Wow.
This person will check the pearl every day of its life, making sure that it has no indication of ill health, stress. Nothing should happen to these oysters, because if one is sick, and because it's a water environment, it can contaminate the entire pond and they would lose their harvest.
Wow, so you have to work on it all the time.
Continually, continually.
Right. Now, I'm curious to see what this next picture is of. That doesn't look like an oyster to me.
No, I bet you didn't know they eat, do you?
Really?
Yes, they do. This is a mixture. It's a fermented mixture of soy, rice, wheat, and actually special. It's kind of like secret sauce. It's secret ingredients that are proprietary to each pearl farm. What you want to do is have optimum growth, but not too much, because if the pearls grow too fast, they can have surface imperfections. And by the way, it smells terrible. Take my word.
Well, good thing we can't smell it.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Great. Now you have an array of pearls in front of you, correct?
Yes. What I wanted to talk about, one of the things that denotes good pearl quality is the luster or orient. And I've graded these out. And first thing that you might notice in the entire selection is that even though they're all white pearls, you can see how they vary in color.
Yeah.
The optimum color would be this one, which is white with a slight pink luster.
Is that like an eggshell sort of?
Yeah, it's called the egg yolk effect, actually, the luster
okay.
or orient. And it kind of looks like, it might be hard to see it here, but it looks like an orb within an orb. The best luster is on top, and as you can see as we graduate down, the luster gets a little duller, and then on this bottom one, they're very, very dull. So this would be the better grade, and then progressing down to the
That's
least.
Good to know. You always hear this about luster, but exactly what luster means.
It's the primary value in a pearl.
Yeah,
primary.
That's wonderful. Okay, let's look at some other types of pearls, because I think everyone just thinks pearls are white, and that's it.
Well, they come in a bunch of different colors. White, just as far as luster, another thing on quality before we get into colors is these are some surface imperfections, and you can see that, and these will bring the quality of the pearl down. You want a nice smooth luster, you want a nice smooth surface. This is called wrinkling, and you can see it's kind of like layers. And a lot of, if you just kind of look along these, you can see that they have pits and different wrinkles in them. All of these, although they're really beautiful, are lesser quality pearls. And this is an indication, this wrinkling is an indication of a fast-grown pearl.
Okay.
Another thing that you want to look at when you're buying a pearl is, even if it's a fully strung strand, most people when they pick up a pearl, they pick it up and put their hand underneath the center and say, oh, how beautiful.
Right.
Well, what you're going to want to do is look at both ends, because it's a great example on the ends here. Both ends most clever bead stringers will put their most inferior pearls on the ends.
Right, because your focal point is the center.
Absolutely.
Smart.
So yeah, so these are the white pearls, and then these are also natural color pearls, as you saw in our oyster. These are the pink ranges, and they actually range from a nice pale pink to a mauve, or sometimes they call it purple color. And then these are the peach colors. These are beautiful. They range from a pale peach to kind of an orange color. And then these are not natural. These are it's
You
kind
don't
of
have natural lavender pearls?
no, they're a fashion-oriented color, and what they'll do is they'll take the pearls with the least, with a little lesser color, and they'll dye them. And these match really great with jewel tones, with amethyst, with the gemstones. So it's a real fashion statement. These are very, very popular. Just because they're dyed does not mean that they're not wonderful.
Yeah. Well, what about the care of pearls? Because if you're lucky enough to have a nice set of pearls, you want to make sure you keep it correctly.
Absolutely. They'll last for years, and pearls are something that is generational. You know, they're passed down through parents and daughters and their grandchildren. So
soft.
what you want to do, it's very nice. This is a little bit fancier model. You never want to store your pearls. They're soft. They're about a 2.5 to 4 on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the hardest. So you never want to store them in with your precious metal. Gold and silver can scratch that luster that's so important. So you have to be very careful. This pouch has individual pockets, and you know, so it kind of keeps them separated out a little bit. You can even use a paper towel. You just want to be careful of that.
Now, Doreen, we're not taking you shopping with us every time we go to buy pearls. So what I want to know is, how can you tell the difference between a real pearl and a manufactured pearl?
Okay, well, we're going to train ourselves, and this is, anyone can do this. So what you'll do is you'll have, I have here, this is a glass-based pearl, and it's a glass bottom, and then it has a coating on it, and this is a real pearl. So what you're going to do is very gently rub it, I know it sounds weird, but rub it on the surface of your tooth.
Okay.
Now this is a glass pearl.
Smooth.
It's very smooth.
Kind of
it's kind of
glides.
slick. Yes. Now do the same thing with the real pearl, with the cultured pearl.
Okay. Oh, it has a little more grit to it. It's a little rougher.
Yes, it's like a fine sandpaper or gritty, and that's how you tell the difference.
That's great to know. So when you're in the jewelry stores or the bead stores,
well, you want to make sure they're clean and ask permission naturally.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Doreen. We learned an awful lot about pearls, and I do love pearls. Remember, they're for every day. And here's Katie with another technique for knotting between pearls.